We're on Anishinaabemowin, specifically Mississauga and Anishinaabe territory, which is part of the Williams Treaty and many other treaties. And the indigenous language that's spoken on this territory is Anishinaabemowin or Ojibwe in the Mississauga and Anishinaabe dialect.
Ani wache danis indishnikas arwapasket indonjaba Miigwech Cree indao makwa indodem nagojoana megwa indada kinomagazekwe inda inda tracks indo injinki inde yakos dongom.
Bonjour, Ani mondishnikas Mexico indonjiba nagojigonan indida.
Bonjour, Annie, Lauren Indigenous.
Ani Jessica Indigenous, Hamilton Indonjiba, Nagojonan, Miigwech Invida.
Ani, hello, my name's Rachel.
My favorite word in Ojibwe is shkode, it's fire, and I like the way it sounds.
My favorite word is monomen, which refers to wild rice and means the good seed. It's really significant around here and is delicious.
My favorite word in Anishinaabemowin is nibishabo. It means tea, and I love tea, and I love the sound, just the flow of the word nibishabo.
I think my favorite word in Anishinaabemowin would probably be jishib. I don't know why, but every time I teach it to the kids, they really like it. It brings them a lot of joy, and that brings me a lot of joy. So jishib or duck, I think, would be my favorite word.
My favorite word in Anishinaabemowin or Ojibwe is Miigwech because it talks about the magic that happens in spring when the water starts trickling again, when all of the different little plants come and start sprouting up out of the soil, all the little microbes start doing their little things again, and spring's my favorite season because of that.
So I think it's really important to learn the language of a place because there's so much wisdom and knowledge embedded in language, and it really teaches you how to live in that place in a good way.
There are so many reasons why learning the language of the place you're living on is important. First of all, it's dwindling. Each year we lose more and more fluent speakers. So we need to keep the language alive, and to do that we need to speak it. Indigenous language has an inseparable connection to our culture and our history, our identity, and our territory. So it's essential for a deep understanding of these knowledge systems. Language also comes from our relationship with the land, and this knowledge is needed more than ever when dealing with environmental degradation of our land and of our waters, and climate change. So the way to reconnect to the earth is to learn the language of the land we live on.
I think it's important to learn the language of the place because it shows respect to the people of that place. And also learning language, specifically indigenous languages, and in my experience, Anishinaabemowin, they hold so much knowledge and so much value. Just learning language has taught me so much about all the things that I'm learning about, and it completely shapes your worldview and how you speak to things and to people.
I believe that as a newcomer to Canada, it's one of the responsibilities that I have to learn the language of the place because I'm a visitor here. So it doesn't make sense for me to come to a new place and don't learn about its people, about its traditions, about its knowledge. And I think it's a responsibility that I'm trying to fulfill every day. And especially because the knowledge has all this information about the place and about the connection to land and connection to nature, that it's really valuable. And if you can make that effort, I think it's super important that you do.
I think it's important to learn the language of the space or place that you're in because it's a really wonderful way of honoring the land and also a really cool way of connecting with the land in a way that you maybe haven't been able to before.
Tracks helps with this by collecting resources, whether that be on through the internet, online, whether that be through our partnerships, whether that be through our books. We work really hard to collect language resources so that we can share them with the public and with youth. And we have language resources for all ages, including adults.
I think that the fact that tracks facilitate that connection with us from knowledge keepers, from elders, that teaches us through the year is really important. But also there's this possibility that I'm taking of using some of my work hours to learn the language, and that counts as work hours. I think that's really valuable because it's showing that Tracks cares about us learning the language and us learning the culture.
So in each workshop, we always teach a few Anishinaabemowin words and always discuss about why it's so important to respect and value Indigenous languages and knowledge systems.
I always start off the workshops and the programmings we run by introducing myself in the language. Our workshops also include a lot of Anishinaabemowin names and phrases. And often it's the first time kids are hearing these names. So it's kind of like we're planting seeds. Kids are hearing the names and phrases repeatedly, and maybe they'll remember it. But it's the start of building that connection to the language and building that familiarity. So in the future, maybe they'll want to learn more.
In all our programs at Tracks, we try to include some Anishinaabemowin, and with our staff as well, we try to do our best to offer professional development opportunities if they're interested in learning their language or Anishinaabemowin or whatever. We try to provide those opportunities for them.
Try to spend as much time around language speakers as we can.
Start small, learn the phrases, phrases you can use every day. Thank you, hello, see you later. I think it's also important to learn the name of the place you live on. So that would be Miigwech if you live in Peterborough. And practice every day. I need to take this advice because if I don't do it every day, then it's not going to stick for me. And then speak it aloud to the world around you. So speak it to your family, speak it to your friends, and also speak it to the natural world, the plants and the animals, and just the earth. And don't be embarrassed to speak it.
Some advice I received when I was learning Miigwech was to laugh at yourself and be okay with making mistakes. You're doing something you probably haven't done before, and that's okay. So it's okay to make those mistakes and to have fun with it.
I would say that my best tip would be to find friends who also want to learn the language because it's so much more fun with them. You get to make jokes, and yeah, it's a really valuable experience.
My advice, especially as someone that English is not their first language, when trying to learn a new language, is to try to be humble because it's gonna be hard, but at the same time, don't give up. Like, it's gonna be frustrating and it's gonna feel like it's a lot of information coming your way, and you try to connect to your language, how to make sense of this new language that you're learning, but just don't give up like that.